Today's guest is the newest member of the Knockouts roster. By way of Russia and New York City, ladies and gentlemen, my girl, Masha Slamovic. So how long were you in Japan for?
I was there all of 2020 from January, I forget when, but yeah, and then I left around the 27th. I left like 3 days before Fight Forever happened.
Wow. So you were there during COVID, the peak
Yeah.
of COVID. And did you have to get like a work visa or anything like that to go over there?
Yeah, originally before I went over, they figured out all the paperwork and just sent it over to the embassy, and I would just have to show up and like receive paperwork, but we
Right.
just had to keep renewing it because I was originally going to be there for 3 months, but then we had to keep renewing it so that I could stay for the whole year.
That's crazy. The only reason I ask is not because of the legitimacy of your stay, but because it was during COVID. Like, that must have been so much more involved. Like, Japanese culture is so like strict and by the book, and you were you were in it. Like, you were in it during COVID.
Yeah, it was sort of strict, but it was still pretty normal. Like you
Okay.
were allowed to go out and eat. That was like something we pretty much couldn't like go to bars or party in large groups, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But life was like relatively normal. And then after 3 months, we were just back doing live shows already.
And so you were originally going to just be there for 3 months. How did that extend? Like, what was the process behind that?
Around the second month, they asked me what my plans were for April because they wanted to send me to do Sendai Girls in the beginning of the month and then put me on the Gaia return show that was supposed to happen later that month or in June.
Yeah.
Um, and they wanted to keep me there to train because they said that they saw potential in me and that I was doing really well. So of course, I said yes. And
Yeah.
I canceled all the plans that I had for WrestleMania week, which I mean, obviously that didn't matter because they all went to shit anyways.
Right.
But once I found out that, you know, even the shows weren't going to be happening and everything was shut down, I still thought to myself, I'm not going to go home and sit there with no gym and just do nothing. I'm just going to train in this dojo and devote myself to wrestling.
Good for you. And was your stay in Japan life changing, career changing?
100%. I'm just a totally new person, a totally new wrestler. I learned just completely changed everything while I was over there. The amount of knowledge that I gathered while I was over there was incomprehensible.
Yeah, no, that's so wonderful. If people ask me what should I do as a new wrestler, like, of course you want to get booked as much as you can, but get out of your comfort zone. Go to Japan, go to Mexico, go somewhere where English is not the first language, because the life skills you will pick up and how you are able to put together matches and what you're capable of completely flourishes. Everyone wants to talk about wrestling being a work and, it not being real. But then how are we able to put together matches without sharing the same language? You learn how to read body language. And I don't know, it's a really beautiful thing you could do for your career. And obviously it's paid off for you in leaps and bounds.
I certainly agree with you in the sense that wrestling is almost a universal language, aside from Mexico, where they do everything on the right.
It's a backwards language.
But yeah, you don't necessarily need to all know English or know whatever language because you all just know how to communicate within the bounds of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And it certainly did completely change my career to, go over there because I just had such a different understanding of, the matches and just work everything, my persona, my attitude, whatever you want to call it, completely changed for the better.
No, I think it's wonderful, and like I said, look at the huge payoff. I'm sure, you're breezing over some of it. It's scary. It's lonely. You've left your friends and your family at home. There's so much in it, and you were there for a year. That's crazy. So, where are you from originally?
I'm from Moscow, Russia.
How did you come up with that name? Because I think it's genius for so many different reasons.
Well, the name Masha was actually the name of one of my childhood friends, and she passed away when she was 19
Mm.
and I was 17. So I decided to take her name and do something good with it. And I think I certainly have over the years.
Yeah.
And Slamovich, I mean, that's Slamovich. We just made it Russian.
It's fucking genius. It's genius. I love
I
it.
really took a risk on that. I was like, this might be really stupid or really cool. And it turned out to be pretty cool.
No, it's great. And it fits your persona, what you put out there. So good thing you took the risk.
Got to take the risks to move forward, right?
So why wrestling? How, you obviously you're a bit of a nomad. You've kind of been everywhere. What drew you to professional wrestling?
I saw professional wrestling when I was really young on TV, like
Okay.
3 or 4 years old, super, super young.
Yep.
And I just remember all the like kids when I was in school, everyone's like, yeah, I want to like be a cop or be a doctor. I'm like, that all sounds so mundane and boring and depressing.
Yeah.
And I just thought that wasn't for me. And I was like, oh man, being a ninja would be pretty cool. But then I learned that there were not professional ninjas out there. And I saw professional wrestling and, boxing and stuff like that. But pro wrestling really, it just spoke to me. And the first time I watched it, within the first couple of matches, I knew that that was my thing. I was meant to do this. And I just was laser focused on it since then.
And how old were you when that kind of really sunk in?
It was like that first time seeing it. I was a little kid, but
Wow.
I just knew that there was some kind of attraction or obsession or something, but I just knew this was my thing.
And where did you start training? Was it in Russia? Was it in America?
I started training in Brooklyn, New York,
Okay.
under Johnny Rods at his school, The World of Unpredictable Wrestling. There we go.
And how long were you training before you had your first match?
I trained about a year and a half.
Okay.
I started on November 22nd of 2014, and I couldn't wrestle until I was 18 in the state of New York.
Yep.
And by the time I had turned 18, we already had Japanese scouts who had come to the school because of our relationship with the dojos in Japan and Mexico.
Okay.
And they scouted me. And after I turned 18 and graduated high school, like 2 weeks later, I was in Tokyo having my debut match.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, what was the feeling going to Japan? That new in the business, you're young. Was it exhilaration? Was it fear? Was it all of the above?
I was just really excited, and I just wanted to do my best to represent myself and my country and, my trainer, because,
Yeah.
this was my debut and I was coming from the school. So I couldn't embarrass everybody, myself included. But I never had any fear going around traveling. I was always very excited for it and looking for a new adventure.
Okay. That's great. Because I think, there's so many mixed emotions that go into it. But I think that's you. It sounds like laser focus, setting a goal, achieving that goal. That's very much ingrained into your personality. Is that what I'm gathering?
Definitely. Being raised in a Russian household, we're very goal oriented. There's not much like playing around. Even if it's anything, it'll be made into a hobby or into some competition. So
Yeah.
we're always just striving to be the best and focused at what we want as a
So
nation.
no, I get it. Like I'm half Polish. I grew up with a lot of Russian, Ukrainian. I know what those households are like. Um, Now, what about your family or your chosen family? How do they feel about you being a professional wrestler and this being your career?
They probably still think I'm a little crazy. They see some of my matches and are greatly concerned for my health.
Right.
But my mom has always been really supportive. She's the one who took me to Johnny Rod's after I harassed her that she had to go with me because I was underage and he wouldn't talk to me directly.
Wow.
My dad was always just like, this is crazy. Maybe you'll get a job one day. And I think he finally came around to the idea that I'm not getting a job and this is my job.
So how old are you now?
I'm 23.
God, you're a baby. Was there any deviation becoming a professional wrestler? Like, you said you saw it as a child and you're like, this is what I'm going to do. But we all have to do things to survive up until this point. Did you ever think like, oh, I'll go to college, I'll go to university, or I'll work this part-time job to facilitate my way to becoming a professional wrestler? Or was it wrestling full steam?
While I was in my wrestling journey, I did simultaneously attend college and get my associate's degree in criminal justice.
Wow.
So I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. And I did work a couple of part-time jobs, but it was, for like a couple of months. I pretty
Yeah.
much wanted to stay busy between bookings and not be lazy. And then bookings picked up and I had to quit. So
Good, good. So it wasn't like you weren't like a gypsy kind of person where you were just like hustling in between wrestling, and you legitimately tried to have a normal life with wrestling.
I would say the gypsy route was more what it was like,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Um, because I spent so much time on the road even before kind of becoming known in the States more in the middle of 2019. I was already traveling on the road in Canada for 3 months. I was in the Dominican Republic, Russia, Puerto Rico, all these places. I would chase wrestling wherever the wrestling was. That's where I would go. I never wanted to have a normal life.
Okay. I don't think any of us do, and none of us are normal, or we wouldn't be in this world. This is where we fit in the wrestling world, and that in itself explains so much.
Definitely does.
And I do think having this unspoken language, like we don't know each other, and we've lived very different lives, but in a way, I feel we have wrestling and that bonds us together. And there's probably so many parallels in our lives, but hopefully I'll get to know you on a more personal level as time goes.
I certainly hope so too. But
N-
I do think that wrestling is something that bonds, wrestlers from many different walks of life because, at the end of the day, we live in two different worlds. We live in the professional wrestling world and the real world. And, everyone is a brother here in the wrestling world because we all go through it one or another
Yeah.
way similarly compared to the other real world where half of us probably wouldn't even like each other.
Yeah, no, it's true. Or have no reason to ever speak with one another.
Exactly.
So is it safe to say you have a home now in terms of professional wrestling? Are you a new knockout? Can we confirm that? We can
We
cut.
can confirm that.
Yay! I'm
Was
so
confirmed
excited.
last week or the week before, so I'm super excited.
Good. I'm so happy, and welcome to the Knockouts locker room. I'm not sure when you start, but they're like we don't have to have this in the interview or whatever, but like I'm technically not going to be at TV for a little bit, just for a few months, but I'm so excited to work with you. I saw your matches and you're bringing such an exciting element to the Knockouts that has been missing. So I'm happy that you've chosen that as your home. Selfishly, I'm happy that you've chosen that as your home.
I'm happy too.
Good.
Having this little bit of history with Impact, it's always been a possibility, and I guess the way things worked out, it became a possibility sooner rather than later, and
Right.
I'm happy for it. And I'm very excited to compete against all the women and men of the division.
Absolutely. A place where you can do both. And it's supported and people believe it. So, yeah, I think you've got a long career ahead of you with Impact. Well, it was lovely to get to know you a little bit. I won't keep you long. I'm sure you're very busy, but I like to end every episode with my 10 tailor-made questions. It's a little bit of a speed round, but don't feel rushed in your answers. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Name a beauty product you can't live without.
What do you call it? Blender sponge.
Oh, yes, girl.
Yeah, that's the only way I'll ever apply concealer ever again.
I hear you. What is your favorite exercise?
Running.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
People being just ignorant or unreasonable and unable to be convinced otherwise.
Yeah, assholes. Don't be an asshole, people. Who is your celebrity crush?
What classifies as a celebrity?
You know what? I will let you choose your own adventure.
You know what? If they don't already know, they ain't gonna know.
Okay. Okay. Touche. What is your favorite band or artist?
Kiss.
Kiss. Nice. I didn't see that coming. Okay. Do you have a secret vice like drinking a glass of wine in the shower?
A secret vice. Well, there's a reason they named me Miss 420 in this year's PWI. So
Yes. Is it legal in New York? Fuck yeah. Here too, girl. That's what Canada's all about.
Canada did it first. So
Right? But I feel like New York we're so close to New York. Like, I feel like there's a lot of similarities in the way we function as people, except New Yorkers are much harder than us. We're very polite.
when I go up there, you guys always say I'm a bit rough around the edges from New York.
I feel like you probably are just more honest and probably polarized. Whereas here, we're also worried about like appearances and politeness. And I don't think that's always the healthiest way. I appreciate when someone is what you see is what you get. Like, I don't gather that there's a lot of sugarcoating in your life, and I'm okay with it. I like that.
Definitely not a lot of sugarcoating.
Definitely not a lot of sugar. What wrestler has the best entrance music?
Minoru Suzuki.
Obviously. What is your drink of choice? Doesn't have to be alcoholic.
Well, non-alcoholic. I really like orange juice and tea.
Nice. And what was your most embarrassing moment in the ring?
I'm sorry, what? It like
Oh,
lagged that.
what was your most embarrassing moment in the ring? Botch, nip slip,
Mm.
and
It's like I almost remember. I remember totally messing up like something, but I don't remember what it was. But I just remember, oh, that's what it was. I tried to kick the rope. So it was actually a match against Thunder Rosa. And I was choking her over the third rope and I stepped back to kick it.
yeah.
And I totally just like slip on a banana peel and didn't even touch the rope. And I just eat shit on my ass. And I'm just like, there's no recovering from this. I'm done.
It was just like a high kick. Ta-da!
And I just completely land on myself. I'm like, yeah, that didn't work out well for me.
What did the crowd do? Did they turn on you?
Oh, everyone was just like, confusion. And I'm just like, yeah, man, me too.
That's brilliant. You know what? It's much funnier because you're such a serious persona. Like, you're such a serious wrestler. For that to fucking happen, you're just like,
yeah, man. I can't cover this up. I can't make this look like it wasn't a mistake.
Oh, you recovered. Your career went on. It's fine. Okay, finish this lyric. I wanna rock and roll
All night and party every day.
Yay! Good job.